Well, hello everybody. It's Texas De La Rosa. I am here finally back in my new office. We are working on the library behind me, so I'm super excited about that. I've always wanted a library, and yeah, and we're gonna have some amazing books put in there, and I'm super excited about that. It's wall to wall and floor to ceiling. So excited about that. So anyways, office is coming around really well. I had to get a new computer. So it has been a hot minute since I've been doing, since I've done a video and since I've been able to do a video because of moving and purchasing this home, and just everything has been absolutely crazy, but it's been a blessing and I'm super excited. And I'm happy to be back on and answering some questions here. I got little Mimi. She's in here. She's going to say hello, maybe. Come here, Mimi. Maybe she'll say hello. Maybe she'll come here. Say hi. Come here. You say hi? Say hi, baby. Oh, you're okay. She is being shy. Come here, baby. Come here, say hi. Oh, she says, no, I ain't doing it. She decided she wants to be just back here by daddy's leg. That's okay. So, yeah, so we're back and we're going to be talking about some things today that I think is very important. Something that has happened, and I feel like is happening in our permanent makeup world and cosmetic tattoo world. It's happening a lot. And that is that we're hearing the word semi-permanent. Okay. How many guys have said that? I have said it. I'll raise my hand. I said it when I first started doing microblading because I was taught permanent makeup prior, and that was not a word we used back in the day. It was not called semi-permanent. It was called permanent makeup, you know? Um, and so when we had this kind of influx of trainers and influx of people changing the methods and this and that and whatever, and and I took my first courses in microblading, they were calling it semi-permanent, and I was kind of like, how is this a thing? But they convinced me that it was totally different pigments and different lines and this and that and and then it's going to fade out. It's the method and all the things, right? So that sounds real appealing, right? Especially because we know that some of the permanent makeup we used to do back in the day, and some of you veteran artists will attest to this, is that we had clients that literally had the same shaped brow forever and it never moved, right? So we all got a grandma or an aunt or somebody that has these brows that are just they have not changed shape since they got them tattooed in like the 80s or something. And that is not always great for the client because we change, our faces change, our looks change. We what we want to have on our face. When we were younger, we probably wanted some more bold things. As we get older, we don't want that. We kind of think maybe a little bit less is more, right? At least that's how I feel about things. And so what was interesting to me was, again, going into this new microblading semi-permanent situation, I bought the Kool-Aid, man. I bought it, I drank it, and I was in there with it. And I was like, yeah, this is awesome. It's going to fade. Well, what we found out is it did not fade like we thought. Okay. And the pigment lines back then, 10 years ago plus, were not what they are now either. So something that I wanted to talk about today was because, and this may rub some people the wrong way, and that's okay because I'm here to talk about it. Because I know there's two lines that have just come out or about to come out. One has just come out, one's going to come out, and they are claiming to be these fading or lines that will come out of the skin in X amount of time or whatever. This has been a huge debate. And I saw many people posting about this. I'm talking many. I guess there was drama in the PMU world too as well. When is there not drama in the PMU world? It seems like between two artists that were both coming out with something that are both also from the same company in the same line. And so that also was a thing that people were a little bit upset about. And I guess, people are siding with who or whatever and this and that. And I don't really care. Does that light look better? I don't know. I'm trying to figure out my lighting in my place here. Does this look better? I'm just trying to see if this looks better. That has a really bad glare. We're not going to do that. Okay, we're going to do that instead. Maybe that looks better. I don't know. Maybe it didn't do anything. There we go. Anyways, I got this little light here. It's a magnet. And so, but regardless, what happened was these two artists are claiming that they're coming out with this new line these new lines that are going to fade out over time. Okay. Now we know that there are certain brands out there, and I'm not going to be talking about any brands, by the way, because I don't want to throw anyone any shade or anything, because this is not shade. This is just real talk. You know, we got to talk about this because the person that is going to be the one that is going to really have to deal with this is the client. And something that's happening to me more and more is getting these clients that are coming in stating that they were told that they have a semi-permanent tattoo and then it's not shifting, it's not moving, it's still there, and they're not happy, you know, and that's something we've got to be careful with. We have to be careful with our wording and how we say these things to people. So, so again, these two lines are coming out. I'm looking here, and I'm reading, and some people that are very awesome, actually. Some people I look up to are talking about this, and you know, and I like that they're talking real talk about it. You know, that no one's being shady. They're actually talking about the big deal and the bigger picture of it. And, you know, and I think some people were at the launch of, you know, one of the pigment lines, and at a conference, and then the other person was saying, hey, I put this out and this was so and so, I was gonna have this out 5 years ago and it didn't happen, and blah blah blah. And you know, I get it, you know, I get it, it's a thing, you know. I mean, when you're making something, if you tell anybody what's going on, it's going to happen. There's always going to be something, and everyone always thinks that they are the only one that's making something, right? You know, and that's something, you know, for anybody doing anything, you know, whether it be a pigment, a needle, this, that, everyone always thinks that they're the only one that's doing this and that they're the only one that matters. And of course, it should be the only person that matters to them, right? But there's always things in the works with other people, you know. I personally know people that have come up with things that, you know, I even thought about doing, and I was like, well, shit, I didn't do that. That's stupid. I should have done it, because now this person's doing it, you know. And so it happens, and so, you know, and you can't get upset about that stuff, because again, this is the world we're in. You know, people are always going to shift and change and evolve and have different things, especially when it comes to the PMU world, because it is growing so vastly, and it is something that so many people want to be a part of and be the next big innovator, you know. And so that's how it goes. Mimi, are you chewing on a rug? She likes this new rug that we put down. So get in here, girl. What are you doing? So I don't know if you hear her little click click clicks. You don't want to say hi to anybody? You don't want to say hi? You can say hi. I don't know why I instantly changed that voice. And when I talk to my baby, everyone does that with their dogs. You want to say hi? You can say hi. No? Come here. Say hi. Say hi to the people. Say, okay. Okay, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to make you. We're going to let her just do her thing. But anyways, so like I said, everybody wants to be the next innovator. They want to be the next person that has the new hot thing, the new hot trend. And we've got to be very careful with these trendy situations, because again, we know that I know for a fact that when I first started using this one certain pigment line, that as soon as all my clients came back, I had salmon brows. How many of you have used a pigment line that had salmon brows? And again, not naming any names, but I was shook when my clients came back, because I wasn't using that line prior, and they were fading out. You know, my clients' brows were fading, and I was like, well, shit, this sucks, you know. And so then there's this new line that comes out, and it's supposed to be this line that's not going to move, and it's going to be more aggressive, and all these things. And I thought, oh, that's what I need, because my work keeps fading, and it's, you know, it's my microblading's not working. Well, a lot of it was because probably wasn't the right candidates for microblading, and just, you know, a lot of things that probably were underlying of why some of my work didn't come back so great. And again, this is when it first came out. And so when I switched from this one line to another line, I was like, oh gosh, you know, and it looked beautiful. And then when they came back and they were faded after a few years, they were pink, salmon brows. That's not a pretty look on anybody, and nobody was happy about that, you know. And this was a thing across the board. And then there was also the modifiers that people came out with, you know, and so people were over modifying lines for a while. And so then you had people that were coming out with orange brows because they over modified these brows with warmth to make them look less ashy in the long run, but then they just ended up having red brows. So that happens, guys, and that still happens to a lot of people. One of the biggest things that I think that any artist needs to do is learn pigmentology, okay? Learn the pigment lines, and then you need to learn about the skin, their complexion, their undertones. What is it going to do 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 4 years down the line, 5 years down the line? What are we looking at? Is it going to fade completely out? or is it going to leave a residual color? And that is the problem we're running into right now, especially with these newer artists that are coming into the world who are being told by their trainers that they've got this semi-permanent ink. And so it sounds safe. They're like, okay, if I fuck up, it's not going to be that big of a deal because guess what? I've got this ink that's going to magically disappear. Well, then it doesn't disappear in the client, and then they've got a messed up brow, and now they're pissed. And now the client is angry, they're upset, and now they're reaching out to someone like me, who is a removal specialist. And then they're telling me their stories. Guys, I had 4 last week, 4. They all said the same thing. I had literally 4 people that came in that were telling me that they were told by their artist that their brows were semi-permanent. And now they are not gone and they are upset and they want them off. I had a lady drive in from El Paso, Texas, and she told me that her artist, this is crazy, guys, her artist told her that she could use, and this is funny, and this is her words, not mine, just so you know, that it was called pearl cream. It was called cancha something, pearl cream. I'm going to look, see if I can find this. Yeah. To remove her tattoo. I will say this, I know that the artist used Even Flow because the lady said she did look. I was very impressed with the client that looked at the pigment and remembered the name on the bottle and was like, she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I remember that, because I was like, okay, I do know that this is a pretty aggressive pigment. It ain't gonna move anywhere, and the client actually had pretty brows. That was what was kind of crazy, because she came to me with really nice shape, but it was too dark for her. And and I get that. When you get something done and you are not 100% happy with it, and this isn't a makeup where it can wash off, that's a problem. So what happened is she reached out to me. She found me through a couple of groups and drove in from El Paso, Texas to see me. And that's, I don't know how many hours that is from Buda, but it's a thing. And so she drove in to see me on Saturday, and there's a few different cancha Necor. I'm going to butcher this. There's a few cancha creams. Let's just call it cancha cream. And that's what the artist told her to put on to remove her brows. This is an artist, guys. This is someone who literally said this. If my client is watching this video, she will tell you. This is not a lie, guys. I promise you. I was like, pearl cream to remove a tattoo? Are you kidding me? That's not going to work, babe. So she obviously at that point then lost total trust in her artist and was like, I'm going to go find someone else. So this semi-permanent craze, guys, the reason I'm bringing this up is, again, because of the situation. I keep having people come into my facility and they are being told misinformation. I gotta say, I said it too. Okay. So what I'm trying to put out there right now, and this is for both client and artist, is that you need to give better consultations. Tell people what's going to happen with these pigment lines. And if you don't know what's going to happen with the pigment line, you need to get more education. Simple as that. It's very simple. We don't do things unless we know what we're doing, or we shouldn't be doing things unless we know what we're doing. I mean, that would be like a dentist going in and doing a heart surgery. Why would a dentist do that? Or the opposite, a heart surgeon trying to do a dental work. Why would you do that? If you don't know what you're doing explicitly, and that client is sitting there getting something done that is going to be permanent, ink is going into the skin. It is a tattoo. It is not semi-permanent. It's not going to go away in a month or 2 months or whatever. Some of them will fade, absolutely, but we don't ever know when they're going to fade. And you can't tell someone that they're going to fade in a year or 2 years, because if they don't, then you're a liar now. And now you're a liar to the client that paid you money for a service that they thought was going to go away. And now they're having to pay to get them removed. And now it's a big, long story. And do you think that this is going to end well for the artist, when that client is talking to everybody about what they were told, their experience, how, the person couldn't help them to get rid of the situation, all these things, guys? It happens, and it's happening all the time. So I want you guys to understand what's going to happen with the pigment when it goes into the skin, meaning what lines are you carrying of ink? That's the thing, guys. There's a time and a place for everything. Okay. It doesn't mean that I like one over the other. You know, I like all lines. I really do. I use quite a few. You've heard me talk about lines, and and I will say the lines that I use because I do use them. I use Brow Daddy. I use Even Flow. I use Blonde to Brunette. I use Jen Boyd. I use Loaded. I use Mara Pro. Haven't used the brows yet, only their lips. And I use Permablend. So those are the lines that I use. And guys, I know what's going to happen when my client comes in. When they walk in the door and they tell me what they want, and I can read the room, meaning that I know that they're not a makeup wearer. Most of my clients aren't. They don't want a brow that's going to be too aggressive or it's going to be too, hard lined. They don't want that big, huge, bulky brow that, you see a lot of the younger girls doing. And it's beautiful, but it's not what a lot of my clients want. Then I know what lines I'm going to use. Also, it also involves their skin. What is their skin like? What is going to happen if I'm doing this with a 1RL? A 3 shader, a 3RL, a 5 round liner, a MAC. What am I doing? Something that was really interesting to me when I talked to my client last week when she drove in from El Paso was that she told me that her artist, when was using the Even Flow, did say that she was like, oh man, she goes, I did this with one pass. I don't think you're going to need any more. And she was like, I guess kind of confused about this. And so she was asking, well, do you normally do more passes? And she's like, yeah, I do. And so she was like, oh, well, is this going to fade then? Because it's real dark right now. And she was like, oh, yeah, it's going to fade like, 30, 40% or whatever. And it didn't. And guys, the brows that were, the lady that came in, I mean, these brows were they were there. Like I said, I didn't think that they were bad. I did not thought they were actually really pretty shape, but they were too dark. And she did say that when she would look in in pictures and things, and she would look at like this top part up here, she said that her arch was way higher than her natural brow. And it was, and that it was a little longer, and she just didn't like how aggressive the line was on the bottom. It wasn't soft. It wasn't like a barely there brow. It was a there you are brow, And so that is a situation too. So if you don't understand your pigment line and then you're going in and overworking the skin or putting so much pigment into the skin that now it's not going to shift at all, and then you're telling the client that it's going to shift, meaning lighten or shrink or whatever you want to say, that's not going to be good for the client. And so that's why I'm here today to talk about that. So if you are a client that was told that you have semi-permanent tattooing, you've been lied to. Not because probably the person was trying to hurt your feelings or lie to you. That's not the truth. I'm sure that person probably thinks it too. Because again, going back to what I said, I even said semi-permanent when these inks first came out because I thought they were, and I didn't really understand how they could be, but it was when you're in a room with a bunch of people and you're in with a trainer that is selling these things to you and they are, telling you all this stuff, you sometimes just like believe it because you're in the moment and you're like, oh God, well, yeah, I believe it. And, and then you try them and then you realize that you've been had. They didn't do what they said they were going to do. In fact, then they shifted into weird colors. And so now the tattoo that you thought was going to come back brown is now salmon colored or now gray or blue or what have you. And that's not okay. So what I want to do is start kind of putting that effort into putting this out there in the world that people need to understand is that there's no such thing as a semi-permanent tattoo. And again, some people are going to get upset with me because they're going to say, hey, yes, it does. It fades and mine do and blah, 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 blah. And they're going to say this, but here's the thing. We cannot tell clients that because if you do and then it doesn't, you are going to be called a liar. It's that simple. What do you think that all these clients, the 4 that I had just last week that all said the same thing, are thinking about their artist? Do you think they're happy with them? Do you think they want to go back to them? Do you think they're going to recommend their friends to go see them? Probably not. So that's where I'm coming in today, just because I think it's becoming a little bit more prevalent that we've got to learn how to talk about these things and put it out there and put this type of information out for people to see so that they can make an informed decision for themselves, it's important, So I'm not here to cause any issues, but I understand if I do, and that's okay. Because again, I'm here to start a dialogue, as it were, with artist and client alike and get your information. Because what I'm hearing from lots of my clients that come in is that things aren't working out for them, especially with the newer artists that again are being told things that are probably not true, and they don't know yet, because maybe they haven't been in the industry long enough to join a group that's going to give good information or get that proper education. A lot of, and this is again not negating or telling people that their 3-day classes, 2-day classes aren't good or whatever, but I'm saying a lot of those classes, you cannot teach everything in 2 days. You cannot teach everything in 3 days. It just doesn't happen. It will not happen. You will not be a master artist after a 3-day course, after a 2-day course. You won't. That's why I've added so much information to my own courses that I'm teaching, because I just realized that we were not doing a good service for the entire community, not just being the artist, but also being the people that were being worked on. So I'm not, again, not saying that there aren't good classes. Some people pick up stuff really quickly, but some don't, and some need more help. And when they're taking these courses, a lot of times people don't give them enough information, so they don't get a pigmentology. Sometimes they don't get a skin, how to work on skin. They don't get, the didactics of skincare and what's going on with clients, with their ethnicity, with their, Fitzpatrick's, undertones, hues, all that stuff. A lot of clients don't, students don't get that. And so then the client is going in thinking, oh, well, they're a professional, and they don't understand, and so again, we've just got to be really careful. And again, I want to start this dialogue because I know that there are a lot of people out there going to be watching that are going to say, oh my God, I was told I had microblading and it was semi-permanent and it's been 5 years and my brows are still here and I don't like them anymore because now they're this weird funky color, or the shape was never great and now I'm not happy. Had a client this morning tell me the same thing. She got her microblading done twice. First time was a dream, she said. Second time was not. And one of her brows was here and one of them was up here. And so now we're looking at removal. And she was sent to me from a wonderful lady named Jackie Clancy. So there, Jackie, thank you for sending her to me. But again, we're starting this dialogue because, again, I think it's so important to put this information out there. Not only for the industry, but for the clients that are out there getting told this information. So again, a lot of you veteran artists will probably agree with me and be like, yeah, I've been saying that forever. And then sometimes there'll be newer artists that are going to be upset about it. And then there might be some veterans that are like, no, because they're selling a pigment and they're trying to sell it to you. So they're trying to get you to buy their pigment. I am excited to see the new pigment lines. I really am, because I want to see what's going on with them. I want to see the effects of how they're healing. I want to see how they're healing, and I want to see what's going on with them, because just like everything else in the world, guys, we are always evolving and everything is evolving. Like I said, everyone thinks that they've got the next best thing, and then someone comes out with it a day later than they did. Things happen, right? But I am still interested in it because guess what? I will probably still use them, because again, I use many lines and I know how to use them in skin. But again, it's because I have education under my belt. I know what's going on. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career with using other things and doing fucked up things sometimes because I just didn't know. You don't know what you don't know. In my early years, I didn't have groups like this. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have Instagram. We didn't have groups where you could pop in and ask a question, so and get information, or watch people and be like, oh, that's cool. I like that. I like how they're talking about this or that or the other. So again, this is just to start a dialogue, just to get that information out. Again, we need to stop saying semi-permanent. We need to stop it. It's just not a thing. Okay. It is going to come back and bite you in your ass if you say that, I promise you. So that's all I have to say about that. So guys, if you have any comments about things, if this has happened to you as a client, if you are someone who had this happen to you and you're like, oh my God, I don't know how to fix it. Guys, it can be fixed. Okay. There are 2 types of removals out there that I do. In Texas, I do laser, and then I also do saline removal, where we're using different products to basically, with laser, it breaks down the pigment. I'm just going to put it out there simple, breaks down the pigment, and then your body absorbs it. Okay. With the saline, it's going to, we're going to dry needle over the area. So if I was trying to remove this guy here, I would tattoo over the area, and then we're going to put that solution on, let it sit, and then it comes off, and then, you heal, and then it will come up and out through a scab. Very simple. There's a lot more that goes into that, actually, both modalities, but I'm just putting that out there simply so that you understand what's going on. But they're both effective, and there's a lot of artists out there that also do these things too as well. Not laser, I will say that. There's not a lot of laser tattoo. Well, there's not a lot of laser technicians that remove permanent makeup. There's a lot of laser tattoo removal companies out there, but a lot of them don't understand the pigmentology, and they don't understand the pigments, and they don't understand the face, how things are different. So it's something that I always tell people, and I told a client that got a hold of me from San Francisco, San Diego, somewhere not too long ago. We did a virtual consultation, and she was telling me that she had her brows done. Same situation. She had them done. They were supposed to be semi-permanent. It's been 2 years. Now they're pink. She hates them. She says that her kids are like, "Mom, you have highlighter brows or whatever," and pink brows or something. And, whatever she said. And I just felt bad for her because she was told, that they were going to go in. Now they haven't. And she wants them just gone. She's like, I don't even want anything now anymore. I don't want any brow. I don't want any tattoo. I just want this off my face. And she told me she had a dermatology office that does laser. And I said, that's great. A dermatologist, I absolutely respect and think that they're going to know what they're doing with the face. But if they do not say they specialize in permanent makeup removal, then I would be very careful, because again, the settings that we use in laser and the types of spot sizes and the wavelengths they're the same, but they're not. I'm just going to put it out there like that. There's a lot of information that goes into doing what I do and what I specialize in. And I'm probably one of the only people I know of in the Austin surrounding area that understands what I'm doing and isn't just kind of going in with, the guidelines that you get from your laser companies to work on, because they don't teach this. Laser companies do not teach permanent makeup removal. They don't. They will flat out tell you. I've had students that have bought lasers and that have said, our own company would not teach me how to use my own laser that I just bought from them to remove permanent makeup, because they don't have the case studies. I do. I've been doing this for a very long time, and I understand what's going to happen. And when I tell all my clients what's going on, they all know that they are in good hands, and I will get it off their face or their body, whatever it is. But it takes time. Okay. Removals take time. They're expensive. They're not fun. They're not easy to do. And I promise you, your clients hate getting them. Okay. So that's why I'm saying we need to stop saying semi-permanent, because if it turns out to be that it's not fading, then it's a world of hurt. And now you've cost your client more money. They paid you already for the situation, and now they're going to have to pay someone like me to remove it, and it's going to take a long time. So time, money, pain. Nobody wants that. Okay. So, all right, guys, if you have any comments or anything, please leave a message down below. If you, again, like I said, if you're a client that is experiencing this situation yourself and you are upset about it and you want to get your brows, lips, eyes, whatever removed, give me a call. Come see me at my spa. All my information is on my website at texasdelarosa.com. You can absolutely go there. You can give my spa a call. It's Glow Laser and Beauty, 512-361-0803. That's right. I think it is. I never call my spa. So yeah, I'm thinking that's right. But if not, go to glowlaserandbeauty.com. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate all of you guys. Thank you for your input. Thank you guys for sending me information to talk about too, as well. But my client actually wanted me to talk about this because she was like, you need to talk about the myths out there of the things that, people tell people and the misinformation. Because, she was telling me again, the pearl cream to remove a brow, and that did not work, by the way. I've also, just to throw it out there real fast, I've heard like lemon juice and peroxide. I've heard people using salt and and a wire brush. Yes, a wire brush and salt to remove their brows. I've heard some crazy things, guys. So don't do any of that stuff, please. If you are experiencing a bad brow, bad eyeliner, bad whatever, please don't do that stuff to yourself. You're going to cause yourself to have scar tissue and damage your tissue. Please see a specialist. Again, someone who specializes in permanent makeup removal, and they will help you. Okay? Don't do that yourself. No home remedies for removing tattoos are going to remove your tattoo. Okay? I promise you. All right, guys. Again, my name is Texas De La Rosa. Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe my channel. I am growing. I've got 140 something subscribers now. I'm super excited about that. Eventually, we'll hope to have lots more of you guys watching. So again, tell your friends to like and subscribe, and please share this video with everyone you know in the industry. Even if you're a client, share this with your friends so that they can understand that, hey, we're here to help. Bye, guys. Have a good day.